Okay, I think I'll start. Okay, since there are only you two, please do ask questions, okay? And then I will make sure that I'll tempt you with questions, and therefore, hopefully the other people who are not here, we will look at the video and then can get it. So let me share my screen. Yeah, so last time I was describing extensions to the algorithms, the explicit state enumeration algorithm that we saw, extending that to for CTL model checking, to do CTL model checking under fairness. Okay. So Maya, you were not there, so maybe I will. That's okay. So I think I will go through this. Maybe you can answer. Okay. So you've already seen definition of fairness, correct, Amir?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So just to make sure that you are okay in the same wavelength, the thing. So I defined last time the fair semantics, okay, for model checking of CTL formulas under fairness as something where you will have to ensure it's about the same as that. I mean, the property as defined by the standard semantics will you have to make sure that it is, it need be true only for on fair paths, okay? On those paths that are fair, okay? And fairness itself is defined by giving a set of predicates, and this is the fairness condition. In this case, there's only one predicate. Each predicate can be represented as a set of states, okay? So for example, in this thing, if we say that F, this is the fairness condition, okay, which, and any path, a path is said to be fair if that predicate, which in this case is true for S1 and S2, the states S1 and S2, has to occur infinitely often, okay? And you can have multiple predicates. Then a fair path is one in which every predicate is in that set, F, has to be true infinitely often, okay? So this is a special case in which I have only one predicate. So my question to you, Ameya, just to make sure that you are on the same page, is if what are some fair paths originating from any state? Or say, I mean, to be more specific, states from S0. Which paths originate, infinite paths originating from S0 is fair, and paths that may not be fair.
Could you repeat the definition, sir?
For fairness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fairness constraint, a fairness condition is specified by giving a set of predicates on the states, by giving F a set of predicates. Okay. And if I have it here. Yes. A path is fair. So F is you give a set of predicates, and a path through the Kripke structure is fair if and only if all the predicates, actually any one state in PI, that's the way I say it. So, but a simpler way to say is that every predicate in this set F has to hold infinitely often. Okay, that's what it is. Since every predicate on a state characterizes a set of states, it effectively says that any one of those states have to occur infinitely often, because each predicate is true for those states. Okay, so I mean, forget about it. A simpler way to state is those paths. A path is fair if every predicate here is occurs. It becomes true. Must be true infinitely often. And that's what, with that definition, let's get to the example here. Okay, so here there is only one predicate, which is true for S1 and S2. So a path is fair if is any path in which S1 or S2 occurs infinitely often. Okay, S1 or S2, because the predicate is true for S1 and S2.
Yeah, good. So over here, it could just say S0, S1, S2, S1, S2, that path, right?
Yeah, so this one, yes. Okay. So it so happens that in path, both S1 and S2 occur infinitely often. Okay. So even if you had a self loop in here, so it just says that predicate has to hold good. Okay, the predicate has to hold good. So if I had a self loop in the state S1, then the infinite path S0, in which S1 gets repeated forever, is also fair. But that is, here I've defined. So what is a path that is not fair from S0?
The one that goes till S3, so S0, S1, S2, S3.
Yeah, the one that goes to S3 and stays.
And then stays in S3. Yeah.
That's what this thing is. Then the question is, does EF, I mean, the satisfaction under fairness is defined as EF. It is true. It is true if it is true on fair paths. So an existential CTL operator requires that a fair path must exist on that. There must be a fair path from that state. It is true of that state if there is a fair path from that state, and on that, this EX of not P must hold. So the question is, what states does it hold in S3?
None, right?
Yeah, my question is yes. Okay, but specifically I'm asking if it holds on S3. Without that F suffix, EX of not P, does it hold on in S3?
Yeah, it holds in S3.
But does EF of X of not P hold in S3?
No, because there is no fair path.
That is exactly. Okay, you got the point. Yes. Okay. So now I can move ahead. Okay, since you are, not that I just wanted to make sure that you are up to speed. So on. Okay. So that's what. So you will have to first, in order to be able to check CTL, do CTL model checking the fairness, you will have to first know if there exists fair paths. Okay. So similarly, So similarly, I mean, yeah. So I mean, I will skip these things. So I guess you get the idea. So EF of G of P, does it hold in S naught? With fairness condition being defined in terms of predicate, which is true only for say S3, it does not, because in S naught, there is a fair path from S naught, okay, which is the only fair path from S naught is one in which you, stay in S3, but because S3 is a state in which not P holds, therefore EF of G of P does not hold. Of course, there is a path from S0 on which EG of P holds, which is S0 with S1 and S2 repeating infinitely often, but that is not fair, correct? Okay, because the fairness condition is S3. You get it now?
Yeah.
Does everyone get it? Yes or no? Mayor?
Yes, sir. Got it.
You got it. Okay. Okay. So then the question is first, so how you check fair? For checking fair EG, we just modify the original algorithm. Okay. First, you will have to, we will assign a new label called fair, which is actually a predicate, which is true if there exists. It's true of a state if there exists a fair path from that state. And how is that label? That is computed for every state by actually modifying your original algorithm by restricting yourself to only those, restrict yourself to those maximally connected SCC, which are fair, okay? And SCC is fair if the fairness condition holds good for that strongly connected component, okay? So which means that because every strongly connected component, the states occur infinitely often. So therefore, those strongly connected components, strongly connected component is fair if the fairness predicate, each of the fairness predicate holds good infinitely often. That is, the fairness predicate has to hold good in, for all the states in that SCC. So, because then that every state in a strongly connected component in which the fairness predicate holds good in every state is certainly fair. So you start by labeling all those states on a fair SCC to be fair, and then you compute, you do what you would be doing the original algorithm for checking, to actually label all the other states that don't occur on SCC. You just do this EG of F true. So you have to make sure if there is any state which is in a tail, which eventually ends up in a fair SCC, will be labeled fair, okay? As long as it is on a path in which it is it occurs, okay? And that you could do by checking EG of F to be true. Then to check EX of F and EX of F1 until F2, use the same algorithm with the modification that you add you modify the predicate by adding the fair label to that predicate. For example, check EX of fair of F, to check the EX of F under fairness only for fair paths, then you will do EX, use the same algorithm by checking fair and F, and check EU for fair paths. You will have to do this. To see why this is the case, let me now get to, for this example, I'm going to ask you, okay, first, in order. So let's suppose this represents. So what are the states in which Arpan, Ex of F of P holds?
Ex of F of
What are the
it's
states?
not S1, S2.
Correct. Okay. Shauryam? S1, S2, or are you?
Yes.
Why not? Why not S0?
There is an infinite path from S1 to S2. I mean,
What?
there exists an infinite path. I mean, it's a strongly connected component. So from S1, I mean, from any other stage, there is a
No.
path
I'm
to
not
S2.
simulating the algorithm yet. I'm just asking, does Ex of Fp, what are the states in which Ex of Fp hold to?
Ex of F.
Huh?
Hmm.
Why not S0? See, from S0, there is a fair path. And from S0 in the next state, which is S1, P holds. So,
Yes.
correct, it holds good for all of these states. How about Ax of F of P? Shall Yeah, the fairness condition I'm assuming is S3. Okay. Are you there? Okay, how about?
There exists no path, right?
No, you're not audible. Okay. So maybe he is having some problem with this thing. So let's okay. Let's then go with Amir. Does it hold good S not? You ask that. Where is the confusion? So you have to, what does AXF of P mean? On every fair path that originates from a state, it's true of those states, if for every, on every fair path originating from that state, AX of P holds.
Yeah, only S3.
Huh?
S3. The X of P, sorry. S1, S2? No. Just only.
Does it hold for S not? Amir?
No. Oh, sorry.
Yes. Amir? You there?
Amaya is no. I think he dropped. Has net issue.
No, but I do see 3 people there. Okay. Shauryam, are you there? Oh, but his microphone is muted.
He's having some issue with joint. With microphone, I guess.
Okay, so let's proceed then. Okay, with you. Yeah, so it's true in S1. S0. How about S1?
So I mean, so on every path it has to hold true P, but from S0 to S3, when it goes to S3, it doesn't hold, right?
No, be careful. What does AX f of p mean? It has to hold good on every fair path. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, on every, the fairness condition is S1, S2.
No, the fairness condition is S3. Assumed fairness condition is S3.
Fairness condition is S3. But in S3, not P is true. So
What?
in S3, not P is true.
S3?
Not P is true.
Correct.
So
Then I'm asking if it is true of S1. What is the fair path from S1?
uh,
So under this fairness condition, what is a fair path from S1?
so from S1 to S2 to S3, and then it goes on.
Yeah, or it can be a finite number of times in S1,
S,
S2. Correct.
S1,
So
S2,
in all
yes.
those, since in all those paths, S2 definitely occurs. Therefore, in the next states on every fair path starting from S1, in the next state you have P holds. Correct.
Yes.
Therefore,
Yes.
it holds for S1.
S1.
Now, question is, does it hold for S2?
No, for all path it doesn't, because S3
Yeah,
is there.
because there is a path, you see, from S2, you can directly go to S3 and then stay there. Okay. There it does not. Yeah. That's why this one does not hold it for S3. Okay. Okay. So now AG, let's move to AG of F of naught of P.
That is S3.
Correct. That is S3. So that's the only state, because yeah, so any fair path from S0, S1, and S2, not P does not hold. Okay. Okay. So now let's see. So what are the okay? So as I said, to illustrate that algorithm, I have to make a fair. Okay, if I were to label fair, what are the states that get the fair label in this example? Arpan, you're the only one who can talk. Okay.
Yes.
So I don't know. Shauryan is not responding.
Which example? Yeah, Sora is rejoining.
Yeah, that's okay. So let's so as I said, how does the algorithm work in order to determine which first, in order to, okay, so now you have to see how the algorithm works, the modified algorithm. Okay.
Yes.
So there it works in two phases. In the first phase, you have to label everything with the fair predicate. Okay. Those states from which there exists a fair path. And that is done by doing this modified procedure for EG. It says, okay, so you restrict yourself only to maximal SCCs which are fair, which means those things in which the states on that will satisfy the fairness condition that all the predicates will have to be true of any of the states. Okay, so which is under the in the condition, the fairness condition is S3. There are only two SCCs here, right? 1 and 2. One with self loop in S3, and the other one is the one that loops between S1 and S2. Which of the two is a fair SCC?
The S3 one.
Yeah, it's this one. So what the algorithm says is, so obviously every state, since this is a fair SCC because not P holds infinitely often. Therefore, S3 obviously has to be has to be labeled with fair because there exists, every path in that that originates from S3 is a fair path. Okay. Yes. After that, you will have to execute. You're starting from that. Then you will do you will label as EG of F to be true. Okay, which means so originally you would have included all the states in all the SCCs, but now it says the modified algorithm says you only include the fair SCC, and therefore starting from that you do compute EG of true, and then every state that you get will be you compute for which EG of true is holds with the fair label. So in this case, all of them, because all of them have a fair path originating from them. So you will start from here. You'd look at the predecessor, the S2, and because S2 is a predecessor, ending up in that fair SCC, you will label that with fair, and so you will do with S1, and so with S0. Okay, so that's the first phase of the algorithm. After that, then you do in order to label check if then to check EX of F, there must be an subscript F to each of these things. Then you will have to check the original algorithm by adding the fair predicate. Okay, and the reason is so if you did that, what will you do? So F2 the S3, for example, checking if you want to check if F1 until if suppose they are suppose you want to you're checking and suppose Q holds good in S0, S1, and S2. So how will the algorithm work? So what you will have to do is you've already labeled all the states with fair in phase 1. So now you have to actually check if E of...
So it will be P until not P.
What?
It will be P until not P, I guess.
This is what you will have to do. Okay, so what is your question?
So I think it is going, for this example, it is going to P until not P.
And I'm not very clear.
No, I was just saying that it should be P until not P for this example, I think. There is no Q in the example.
I didn't get what you're saying.
In the example, there is no Q. I mean, you're doing this for the example, right? The example that you have.
Yes.
There is no Q predicate.
No. I'm assuming that. Assume that Q is Q and S0, S1, S2. Okay.
Yes.
So that's what you do. So first you have checked if there exist fair paths, and then you label every state. So in this case, there is a fair path from every state, and therefore you would think. So obviously, how does checking Q until some predicate holds good? Therefore, you first start with the label every state in an SCC in which fair and not P holds, which is S3, correct?
Yes.
And then after that, you go back, accumulating all the predecessors, and you see if it's a state in which every predecessor in which Q holds, and therefore you will end up labeling all S0, S1, and S2 with Q until and therefore this condition Q until not P holds good for every state, correct?
Yes.
Under the fairness condition. AM? It's still not that. Orion, are you able to hear? It's still happening. My voice is faint, is it?
No, for me it is fine.
Yeah, I don't know. We are having. What do we do? So maybe we'll do it again on Monday, man. There are not only are there not enough people, and since I'm not getting, I'd like it to be interactive at least. Since that interaction is not possible, that why not be, let's do as much as we can. Okay, I know that but that's okay. So is it okay if I just continue on Monday? Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's better. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's okay. But anyway, I'll be having only 2 or 3 more classes at most, and therefore I'll make all of those things in person. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah. I'll see you Monday then. Yeah.
Yes.